I don't know where all these tanks have gone. I mean, they must have all gone since, you know. But I mean, Anna lived in that one there, and she was 90 or 93 when she died. She used to watch us come down, walk down Havelock Street, and wave all the way till we go on the High Street, down past the East End Club roundabout here. That was fascinating.
What a lovely memory.
That's a lovely picture, that actually. You know, I didn't realise there were so many pictures of the Garths. Who's this?
So I click on this.
Jimmy Kelly.
Jimmy Kelly.
Jimmy Kelly was me father and me father and my Uncle John's best friend. Jimmy Kelly. God. They came from Ireland as well, I'm sure. The Kellys. There was a big family of them. And Jimmy Kelly was my father's friend. Isn't that weird? Isn't that weird, eh? The Kellys were a big family down there, like the Kilties, the Moans. Oh, there was a lot of families at the time. Now that might be, yes, that'll be the same. That'll be that way. I mean, I lived there, and I remember that I had cats. I had a lot of cats, right? And believe it or not, the cats used to fall off the ledge and land on the feet at the bottom, and I couldn't believe it. You go, oh, because there was a lot of pigeons used to come and land on the landings there. People used to put bread out for them and that. And my uncle John, who lived with me nana and my granddad at the time, he never got married. He lived there all the time. He used to put bread out, and the cats used to watch the birds come and land. It was dead funny, and they would try and latch onto the pigeons, and they would go. You just see the cat just disappear over the ledge, and you'd run outside out the door. And the cat would be sitting on the bottom, shaking its head and making its way back round to come back upstairs. They didn't get killed, I don't know. That was weird. That was absolutely weird. Great shot of High Street, that. I mean, we think the Exchange building now, but that was the old town hall. And we had Right River Garth down here on the right hand side. That's a vibrant area. And really, when I was a young child, you know, I was born in 51. But there was a lot. I mean, some of these buildings are still here. The Exchange building and this wonderful building that has the lion on top. But when you go down Bottlewell Lane there, at the bottom end there, my father used to pick us up, take them down in Nanas. We used to come down the High Street. This hadn't changed very much. There was a pitch house on the right hand side, coming down more or less where that new road goes through now. I can't remember what they call the road actually. But as you got to the bottom, there was some toilets down here. You used to drop down onto some steps down the bank and go into the toilet. And all these buildings were more or less still built there. It was only in later years where, you know, for want of a better word, we decided to demolish them all, and we took away really the character and the old area of the old East End, and which is a real shame. But you can see there the people walking around, and it was like this going down my nana's on a Saturday morning to go down to visit her and to get our pot money. There's a picture there, ideal on the veranda. It looks like it anyhow. I mean, Nana lived in 43 Weir Garth, and we were a long line of Irish families who came over from the southern Ireland. We came from Sligo in the south of Ireland to live down the old town end. It wasn't the Garths then. They lived in some streets round the old East End, and when the Garths were built, they moved into the Garths. My nana came from Arbroath, my granddad came from Sligo in Ireland with these parents who lived down there, and they came. My nana was called Elizabeth Butchart, and she reminds me granddad, and became Curran. They had 3 bairns, and my grandfather's first wife had died only young, and she was called Caroline McQuillan, I think it was, and they had a number of children, and my grandfather came over with these parents from Sligo in Ireland to live down the old town end. And my grandfather, I mean, great character as he was, he used to call him Paddy, and he always wore a bowler hat and a black, old-fashioned black suit with a waistcoat, and he worked at Roper Park for 54 years as the head gateman, and each year, right up from the 1890s right away through to 1910, he would play football matches. things you don't see now, and I can't remember, there would be rangers really, that's what they would be called, and I can't remember what the proper name was. And my grandfather used to sit there with his pipe, and he would knock his pipe against, when he wanted changing the battery, he would knock it against the iron, and it would all fall out, you know, and it was dead funny to see me. And my Uncle John used to say to him, "Father, when you put in the fire, man, don't put it dropping all down on the grate." And he could, even at 90-odd-year-old, he was 9-year-old when he came over, he still had his Irish twang. It never changed, it was weird. And he would say something to me Uncle John, like, and he would go back into the bathroom, putting his brill cream on his hair, because they were going out with my father, they were going to the match or something like that. And my grandfather used to be sitting there, and my nana used to be potting around. And my nana is typical of what you would see with my nana would be, when you look at the books of the Bruins, or the Browns, as they call it, right? And you see Mrs. Brown with a long pinny on and her hair tied right back in a bow. That was my nana. Exactly the same. You just think they'd taken that caricature from my nana, and that's what it was like. This long pinny that all women used to wear in those days, tied at the waist, with her hair pulled right back. When she let her hair down, it was silver, you know, silver colour. But she had it went right way down to her back. Never had it cut. But when she was younger, she must have been very dark. When I was younger, I was very dark. So was my father. We used to go and meet on Mackie's Corner. Well, we used to be standing around, my brother and I. And all the blokes used to be standing on the corner, talking. And the police used to come along and say, "Come on, move on, no loitering." And but by that time, I'd probably getting about 15 shillings in old money, two bob here, tanner there, 2 and 6 here. And there was one bloke, my father used to come, he used to always come with his hands in his pocket. "Hello, Josie. Hello, Jim. Hello, Jim." Jimmy Carroll, they called him. He came from Tipperary or Killarney, somewhere in the south of Ireland. And he was a great bloke, really crack on. "How we doing, Joe?" And all this sort of thing. My father, "We're fine, we're fine, we're fine." And it was brilliant to see. But there was a lot of families like that. And if they weren't Irish, they were Scottish. And they were always generous men, give you money, pocket money. And when we used to come further to High Street, my father used to say to me, "Give me the pocket money, son, I'll keep it for you." And I've never seen it again. Right, Amanda, one great thing about the old East End for me, or the town end as my grandparents would say, the old town moor and that, was when you came down the High Street, right? And you were away down to your nana's and you were watching the clock because she had sweets for you and all that. The amount of people would stop my father and talk. They all knew each other. Whether they were coming up the town, up the High Street bank to go shopping in the town, and others going down. So this is like first thing on a Saturday morning, we'd be going down the old East End, and my father would be talking to all these blokes. And by the time you got round to the Garths, we'd probably spoke to about 20 people. All knew each other. "Hi, Joe. Hello, Paddy," because he got called by the Joe Paddy, you know, and he'd be talking about this. "Who's these, the boys? Aye, son," and all this sort of thing. Before you even got your nanas. So the feeling of like everyone knowing each other, the feeling of community was there. Once you got on the veranda, you went up the 2 flights of stairs to go up my nana's house, you'd be looking over and shouting. Everybody knew each other. They'd be shouting across the verandas at each other, or shouting down at the kids, "Bobby, get out of him," or something like that, you know, this sort of thing. Everybody knew each other. My nana would often walk up the town at the 80-odd-year-old. She was 93 when she died. She would walk up the High Street bank, not get the bus. I think the number 6 used to run up there. I can't remember now, but everybody knew old Lizzie, you know what they call her. And she'd walk up the bank, and often she'd get into opposite the Caledonia and get the, I think it was the Salvation Army, and wait for the bus to come down the bank. And many times she would say, you know, "Bobby's picked us up," or somebody who might have had a car, because not many people have had a car. They've picked her up and brought her down and that, you know. But the friendliness of people, that must go back to the times of when a lot of those families, like I say, had come into the area from Ireland and from other places, and all knew each other's clans and that. And it was such a very clannish community. I mean, we're talking about the colliery areas now. If you go to, you know, the old Corryhetton and Easington and that, how the pit villages were very clannish to each other. Yeah, because they all worked the pit and all lived in the same streets. the old town end was like that, and it was very clannish, and all knew each other. They all went drinking together. Street parties all went in together. They all mixed in. You know, Mrs. Smith wouldn't see Mrs. Jones down the street without anything. They would go and give each other pans of broth or help each other out, and it was a wonderful spirit of things. Didn't have any money. You know, a lot of poverty down the East End. People, you know, probably didn't have good clothes and stuff like that. But what they did have, they had the spirit of the old town end, and I think that's what made the town later. You know, people will talk about that being the Barbary Coast over at Weymouth or up at Bishop Weymouth later. But the old East End had this uniqueness about it, and it was a unique area, and it really was. And you know, as a kid, we would come out with Nana sometimes, and my father would want to go along Hendon Road, and we would come up church walk past Holy Trinity, Trafalgar Square. I used to be amazed at Trafalgar Square as a kid. I used to love architecture, and I used to look at that and I used to think, this is great, this. And the old church, Donaldson School. Then round into Coronation Street, you'd find the old jail still there. It's gone now. You know, we should have had that. That should have been still here. And St. Pat's over the road. You know, Roman Catholics as we were, coming from Ireland. Our church is gone, you know, which is sad. But the community spirit from it all was wonderful. And didn't matter if you were a Protestant, Catholic, whatever. Everybody mixed in together. And football was always the topic and main theme. Everybody knew my father because he played for Sunderland. I knew Paddy, and you get in football and that, and everybody knew my granddad because he played for an old team called Royal Rovers. He was a gateman at Roker Park for 50 odd years, 54 years. So everybody knew them, and everybody knew each other, and they were really lovely people. And I think that's what's made Sunderland evolve the way it is now. We've become a bigger city, but from those days it all started.